Hey folks, this is Mary. Welcome back to my channel. So about a week ago, I did a currently inked video of all of my inked pens because there are many of them, but my SD card died and I lost that video, so now I am reshooting it. But it ended up being almost 2 hours long and nobody wants to watch a video that long about inked pens. So I have sped it up and I'm going to do a voiceover. And I just showed you all of my pens in the bin, in the cup, in my pen roll. So we're going to start with the cup, and this is my TWSBI Eco in transparent green. It has a fine nib, and I have it filled with Diamine Sherwood Green. And it's a nice pen. The nib is a little bit fine for me, but until I at some point get a replacement nib for it, I'm just going to go with it. There's a little smear. And then next up, yammering about something. Oh, I'm adjusting the camera. I'm trying to get my book straight. It is a losing battle. So next up we have one of my Wing Sung 3013s. This is a dupe of a TWSBI VAC 700. This is the green one, and it has a fine nib in it, and I have filled it with Lamy Peridot. I really enjoy these pens. I really enjoy a vacuumatic pen. A vacuum pen, and a nice little smear, very close to Sherwood Green. Next up is my Pen BBS 355 in Misty Mountain, and it is filled with Pure Pen's Saltire. I have a love-hate relationship with this pen. The filling system is kind of wonky. I've had some hilariously bad videos about that in the past, and it also tends to hard start, but of course this time when I'm filming it did not hard start, so go figure. I've almost used up all the Saltire. This was the first fill of the pen, and I should probably clean it out and put something else in it, but I just want to finish it up, so I'm almost there. Next up we have another Wing Sung 3013. This one is clear with an extra fine nib. It has Colorverse Supernova in it, which is my fourth favorite ink, but I have really enjoyed writing with this ink. It is so beautiful. It's a beautiful blue. It has red sheen. The nib is not too fine. I love everything about this pen. Next up is my Curadas, my Platinum Curadas with a fine nib. I have made some hilariously bad videos about this pen. It did not want to work the first time I filled it up. I tried a troublemaker ink in it, and that was a mistake. And now it's wanting to hard start, which it has never done before. So I just showed you my cup of water. If somebody is hesitating, I will dip it in the water to see if that will get it going. And here I'm checking to make sure it has ink in it, which it does. And then I'm putting it back together, which is tricky. Putting a Curadas together is tricky. But I finally get it going again. And the pen works fine. I don't know why it was acting up on camera. But I put Noodler's Heart of Darkness in it, and that works in this pen very well. This is my Platinum Twist. It is a student pen with a strange triangular shape, but I find it very comfortable. I love writing with it. It fits my forefinger grip perfectly. And it has a medium nib, which is a very wet and broad medium, and you could see all that tipping material on it. Oh my goodness. I have the blue cartridge that it came with in it. I really enjoy writing with it, but it's kind of wet for my everyday writing at work, and I don't think it's attractive enough to use for letter writing. And then this is a Pilot Metropolitan with a cursive medium nib, or sometimes called a calligraphy medium nib. And he's also given me trouble for some reason. I was looking back to try to figure out what kind of ink was in it. Because there's so many of them, sometimes I forget. And now I'm trying to get him going. And in the last video, I didn't have trouble with anybody hard starting, but now they're just acting up on camera. So this was Lamy Azurite. I'm doing his little smear. Very nice purpley blue ink. And then I'm doing the smear of my blue cartridge from the Platinum. Here is my trusty Pilot Varsity, an excellent starter pen. And this thing has been going for like 3 years, I swear. So it is just the black ink that it came with. And I plan to write it dry. I have another one that I have written dry, and sometime I will figure out how to refill it. And then this one is a TWSBI Go Smoke with a 1.1 stub. And this is my first ever shimmering ink. I just shook it up some to get the shimmer flowing. It has Diamine Blue Lightning in it. The first time I've ever had a shimmer ink in a pen, and I just don't see any shimmer on the page. The ink is lovely, but no shimmer. And now I have a trio of Platinum Preppies in all three of their available sizes, the extra fine, the fine, and the medium. So I'm just going to write with all three of them so we can kind of compare to see what they look like. So I'm a little bit out of screen here, but I will fix that in a minute. So first up is the O2, the extra fine. And the extra fine is an older pen because it has a different print on the barrel. The old one had less stuff on the barrel, and the new ones, they have more branding on them, which kind of covers up the clear part. So now I'm writing with the O3, the fine, and it's very dry. And some of these pens have the original cartridge in them, and some others I have refilled with Heart of Darkness, and I don't know which is which. But now I'm writing with the O5 nib, the medium nib, which you can't see, but now I'm making it so that you can see. So yes, two of them had a nice smear, and then the fine nib, I didn't get it to smear. So which one is the Heart of Darkness and which is the cartridge? I just don't know. Oh, and I did have a blue preppy that I was trying to get to write, but I don't think I could get him to write. Okay, this is my Pelikan M205 Olivine, which was a pen of the year a few years ago. And he has a fine nib, and I didn't like it at first because it was my most expensive pen, but it had a steel nib and I was disappointed, but I finally decided to use it. So I have filled it with a sample of Mont Blanc Irish Green, which was sent to me by Sarah at Fountain Pen Insanity, and it's on the absolute last dregs of ink. I have used it up and enjoyed it so much. And that was the last pen in the pen cup. And here is my new little Moonman Wankai Mini. I've had several of these guys and I keep losing them, so this is my newest one and I'm hoping that I won't lose it. And I have just filled it with my Rohrer and Klingner Solferino samples. I've ended up with like 5 Solferino samples, so I finally decided to put them in a pen and use them. And I thought a bright pink ink would look lovely in this clear pen. And I forgot the smear on the Olivine. So I'm talking about something. I don't know. Oh, we're moving on to the bin o' pens. The pen bin. And I couldn't figure out a good way to set this up, so I'm reloading the cup with all of the pens, and then the pens that don't work, I'm going to put back in the bin. And that was my trusty Bic, who somehow ended up with the fountain pens. And all of the pens would not fit in the cup, so I ended up with just a handful there. So I'm going to start with the handful, and then I'm going to move on to the cup. And there was yet another preppy that I found. I think that was an O2 that was just about empty. So since I have so many of them inked up, I just decided that I would clean him out. And that is a Jinhao 992 in a lovely blue, but he's all dried up. And that is a Wing Sung, I think it's a 3003, which is a Pilot Prera knockoff, and he's also dried up. There is another 992 who is all dried up. And that is one of my Jinhao Shark pens. I love them, but I have the worst time getting them to work. They're so cute, though. I wish I could get them to work. There is my Faber-Castell Loom. It has a blue cap and a medium nib, and I'm trying to get him to work. I was looking back to see what ink was in him before, and I just gave him a little water dip to try to get him to work. And I don't know what blue ink was in that, so it's just some unknown blue ink, but he definitely needs to get cleaned out. And that is a Jinhao X450 with one of my new Nemesine replacement nibs in it. The nibs are beautiful, but that pen is all dried out. And that is yet another Jinhao 992 and yet another 3003. I was showing you the number there on it. I love the clear feeds. So I'm looking through my cup trying to pick out some more pens, and here are some more of the Shark pens. That blue Shark pen is my favorite, but I have never been able to get that thing to work right. And that White Shark pen, it has a fairly fine nib, and I was trying to use it in my Hobonichi, which has teeny tiny lines in it. So I put Lexington Gray in it, and I don't know. It wasn't right for the Hobonichi. Nothing is right for the Hobonichi. I finally gave up on the Hobonichi. And then there's that Purple Shark, which had some kind of dark ink in it, which had leaked all over the cap. So I don't even know what that was. And there are my Safaris. Not my Safaris. That is my All-Star. My Lamy All-Star in Pacific Blue, which was empty. And that is the Safari, I think in the Macaron, which had an extra fine nib, also empty. And those are my two Jinhaos in Shimmering Sands. And one of them was one of the first pens that I bought, and I dropped it, and I thought I had broken the feed, but I didn't know enough about pens to know that feeds are supposed to look like that. So I bought a second one, and here I'm noticing that one of them has a replacement Nemesine nib on it. So they're both in working order, and I was trying to see if I could get either one of them to write, but I was not successful. They just need to be cleaned. And there's my Lamy Vista, all dried out. And next up we have some Pilot Plumexes. I got 3 of them in a set off of Amazon. It was a calligraphy set, and the color of the pen had matching colored cartridges. And that one is a fine nib with a purple cartridge. And that one is a blue pen. Oh, I just found the green one. So the blue pen has a blue cartridge, and that is a medium nib. And then there is the green one, which also came with you guessed it, a green cartridge. And it says broad on the nib of the pen. But one interesting thing I noted about them is they don't have any tipping material. It's just the steel. So you're writing on the steel. Compared to most other pens, they have tipping material on them. So this makes, even though it's a broad, it's really kind of a stub. They're all kind of stubby because they don't have that tipping material. It's just the flat piece of steel. Now this is another Plumix that I got off of Amazon, and I got this one in an extra fine because, again, I was trying to find something that would write fine enough to fit in my Hobonichi, because those Hobonichi lines are so teeny tiny. And I was writing teeny tiny because I just can't believe how teeny tiny that nib is. It's like writing with a hair, I swear. And that, oh, I just noticed some orange ink on my hand. I don't know where that came from. But even though this is an extra fine, it does have some tipping material on it. And I thought it would be fun to compare some of the sizes of the extra fine nibs. This is a Pilot Kakuno in the extra fine. I had Noodler's 54th Massachusetts in the Plumix extra fine, and this one has Noodler's Lexington Gray. And again, fine nib. And I'm comparing the Preppy fines to the Plumix fines. And now I'm writing a little comparison sample of all of the extra fine nibs, which are so extra fine. I just can't believe how teeny tiny they are. It is crazy. So fine. Now the extra fine Plumix does look a bit bigger because 54th Massachusetts does tend to spread. And let me see. Which one is that? Oh dear, I missed that one. There's another Pilot Metropolitan with the little squeeze converter, which I think is so adorable. And trying to get him to write. And I don't even know what kind of ink was in that one. He just doesn't want to write. He's trying. Oh, I think I did get him to write. And that had 54th Massachusetts in it also. And now here is my turquoise Metropolitan, which has a fine nib, like the purple one. And I have a cartridge in him, but I think I've been refilling the cartridge with Heart of Darkness. That is my Kaweco Perkeo and I will move the paper up in a second so you can see. That is the blue chambray, which came with an ink flight. The first ink flight I ever bought, and I bought the ink flight for the purposes of getting the pen. And it has a medium nib and some kind of lovely unknown blue ink in it. I have no idea what that is, but it's so pretty. Oh, showing the pen cup again. There is my TWSBI Eco in transparent purple. And he's almost empty. And I have no idea what this ink is, so I probably just need to clean it out since the ink is unknown. But I did want to write with it so you could see it with the fine nib. And there is my TWSBI Diamond 580 in Prussian blue, which I have written dry. It had Pure Pen's Celtic Sea in it, but it's empty. And there is a blue Preppy that I'm trying to get to work, but he just needs to be cleaned out too, because he just doesn't want to write. Even though I think the cartridge is kind of full, but that's okay. There is my Yoda pen. Do or do not, there is no try. And Fear is the path to the dark side. I love this pen. I've been trying to find a green ink to go with it, but it's just not my green. I can't find one that I like. So I think I just need to go with a brown ink for that maybe. I don't know. There is another of the Prera knockoffs. There is my Cross Calais. I love that pen. It's so elegant. It's a medium nib, but it's a very wet medium, and it's such a beautiful blue color. I had some kind of blue ink in it. I don't know what it was. There is my Diplomat Magnum. I do not like that pen. It is so uncomfortable to write with. There is my Jinhao 159 in the lovely purple. And he's all dried out, but so comfortable to write with. He's a big chunky pen, and I love him. That is a Platinum Plaisir in blue, and he's just about dried out. And I am devastated that I missed out on the Platinum Plaisir Venus belt. There is my Monteverde Ritma. It was on sale. The only color left was red, so I got it. I don't like it. It makes that fun popping sound, but the popping sound is not a reason to buy a pen. It has a stub nib. I put Diamine Ancient Copper in it, which is an ink that I love, but I just don't like the red of the pen, which is a shame. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. And we're moving on to the second page. The first time I did this video, I didn't go to the second page, but now I am just writing and talking way too much, and I have to go to the second page. So this is a Jinhao 51A. I think these are adorable little pens. They're, Parker 51 knockoffs. He has a little fine hooded nib. I'm trying to get him going. And I'm pretty sure that has Noodler's Heart of Darkness in it. But he's been inked up for a long time, and I think he needs to get cleaned out, and I'll put some other fun colored ink in him. That is a Monami Olika, one of my first pens. And I didn't like it, but I think that was just my inexperience talking. Oh, this is my Conklin Nozak. I do not like this pen. I have another Conklin, the turquoise one. I don't like that one either. It has a magnetic cap, which I don't feel is very secure. And I just don't like the way that it writes. And I was trying to get the ink going in there. I don't know what color the ink is. It's blue. Some dark blue ink. And it's a flex nib. I think the ink is kind of dried out in the feed, so it was railroading, but I don't think it's the pen's fault. I think it was just the dried out ink. And there I'm trying to do a little bit of flex. I am not good with the flexing, but next up we have my two Nemesine Singularity pens. I heard good things about the Singularity demonstrators, but at the time that I learned about these pens, all the demonstrators were sold out. So I got these two, the blue and the red, because they were all that was left. And I have used them for my demonstration of my Nemesine replacement nibs. But ironically, I can't remember what nib came on these Nemesine pens. Was it a Nemesine nib? I would imagine so. Anyway, this has Noodler's Navajo Turquoise in it. And that is the 0.6 stub. So it's pretty fine, but you can see that it still has some stub qualities. And that is the red one. Again, not a fan of the red. I hate to say it, but it is a broad nib. It's a beautiful, smooth, wet broad. But I'm still going to clean that pen out because I just don't like red. That is a cute little calligraphy pen that I bought at Hobby Lobby when I was desperate to try a fountain pen. And I didn't like it. It felt scratchy and weird, but I think it was just my inexperience because writing with it again now, it feels perfectly fine. So I don't know what was bothering me about it so much before. I just didn't know what I was doing. But I'll probably clean that one out because it's just kind of a novelty pen for me, I guess. And then next up we have my Noodler's Charlie pen. The pen is so little and cute and I just love it. Even though I don't like little pens, I love this little pen. He's so cute. And he had Sailor Manu Kiku in him. And he's all dried out and definitely needs to get cleaned. And he leaked all over my hand. He needs a bath. That is yet another of the 992s with some kind of pink ink in it. And it's just not writing. And there is another 992 that has some kind of blue ink in it, and he's just not writing. And that is all for the pen cup. So now we are moving on to my pen roll, which I take with me to work. And it is very full. So we're starting with 2 of my Kaweco pens. This is the Blue Ice Sport, or Ice Blue Sport, which has a Horizon Blue cartridge in it, which I have been refilling with Horizon Blue, and a medium nib. And then I have the limited edition turquoise pen from Gold Spot, which has California Teal cartridge in it, which I have been refilling with California Teal. Very broad and wet. And then next up, this is my first Sailor pen that I ever got. It is the 1911 Promenade, and it is a red sparkly pen, and it's so beautiful, and I'm trying to get it so you can see the sparkles, but the lighting is weird and you just can't see it. So this has a medium fine nib, and I have the original cartridge in it. It's been inked up for like a year, but this thing is still writing just fine. It's a nice pen. Next we have my Pelikan M600 in violet white. And I don't know what just happened there. I think I was looking to see what color was in it before. I had another purple ink in it and I can't remember what that was. But I have filled it again. I'm on my second fill with the Pelikan. And I got some cross violet after the recommendation of Heldon Wrights. And it's a beautiful ink. It's very wet. And these are 2 TWSBIs that have the same ink in them, even though at the time I didn't realize they both had the same ink in them. This is my TWSBI Go Clear with a broad nib, and it has Sailor Manu Nadeshiko in it. And I thought I had put Milky Ocean in this blue pen. That is the TWSBI Eco in transparent blue, probably my favorite pen if I ever had to pick just one. And I thought I had Milky Ocean in it, but I realized that I was trying to use a different ink, so I picked Nadeshiko, forgetting that I had already put it in another TWSBI pen, which is why I need to keep up with my inked pens better. But that's the point of this video, to help me keep track of my inked pens. So this is my TWSBI Diamond 580 ALR purple with a medium nib. And I got the medium nib from my purchase from Miss Turtle. It used to have an extra fine nib in it, which was just too fine. And that has Lamy Azurite in it. And also, I forgot that I had Lamy Azurite in a different pen. And next up is my new Pilot Vanishing Point, which is so much easier to put together than my Curadas. But I still love my Curadas. And I remember that Chris Sines had said that she had trouble getting her Vanishing Point to work, so she recommended a flowy ink, and I remember one of her favorite inks is Aqua Lagoon, so I decided to try Aqua Lagoon in this pen, and so far it has worked beautifully. Now it is a stub and it's very scratchy to me, so I feel like at some point I'm going to try to smooth it, and it does kind of squeak when it writes. It's really weird. And last but not least is my wonderful Lamy 2000 with his little purple pencil grip buddy there. And my pen roll is pretty full, so I stuck the 2000 in the pocket. And I'm just talking about how slippery the pen is and how the pencil grip helps me grip it so much better. And I'm trying to remember what ink I put in this pen. I had KWZ Hawaii Blue in it, but I used all of it and I have refilled it with something. and I'm just not sure what the ink is. I had a bottle of Oxford Blue at work, and I'm pretty sure I filled this with Oxford Blue, but I'm not sure. I think that's it. So we're going to go with that for now. So that is all of my over-inked pens. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.